Hello there. Good evening. It is a good day to do a bit of coding. I got a bit of new setup here, so I'm kind of excited to have a couple of things a little different and hopefully a little better. We'll see if they're a little better. Tonight's a bit of a test with this new setup, so I'm looking forward to continuing on this project. It's going to be an interesting step forward. I reached the point where I realized I needed to be able to discriminate inside my data structure, which was my working memory from the rules engine, because I need to be able to discern different properties with the same key. So here I've got two different things, each with the same message key, and I don't want them to be confused by the confused with each other. So yeah, here's another one. I've got an A and a B, both have a message key, and this is going to be a challenge. Actually, I'm unsure as to whether this is even passing right now. Okay, let's test this out. Excuse me a second. That's much better. Need to do that into mic. Okay, my tests are passing, but clearly, yeah, the referenced property. Wait a minute. Why is that passing? Did I X that out? I did not. How on earth is it that that is an array? Oh, I think that is accidental, because A is referenced in order to get A here, and then A dot message is referenced inside A. Tricky. So I got two things actually referenced: the container for the property and the property. And I need to discriminate between those. This should fail. I don't expect this to work at all. Yeah, so I actually just got a message. So I really want to push up, as in terms of the reference properties, I want that to be an array of arrays. And so, let's see, that's not an array of arrays at all. I want it to look like that. Now this will fail. Yes, because I had an array with A and message in it, and now I want an array of A and array of A message. And if I reference B, then I would expect this to be B's message, because this array I want to be the complete path to the property, however far down that object graph it is. Okay, so I need to make the system work like this. This is going to be fun. I'm gonna just comment that out. Just mark that for finish you later. And now let's step back into, let's see, the property use analyzer. So I guess that register property, that's That's a tricky one because property name really shouldn't be the property name. I really want that to be a property path. And really, it's like property path vector. So let's see. Let's dig a little deeper. These things are going to be interestingly different. The read-only proxy builder is going to put things into the property listener. Oh, that's interesting. The reflect get, it's going to get the actual thing. It's going to figure this out, but stepping pretty deep into this. Sorry for the emergency sirens. They happen all the time here. This will be the last bit of streaming I'll be able to do for a little bit. I'm having my specialist coming to visit, and so I'm going to be offline for about a week. So I really wanted to get this in today to get this pushed a little bit further and not to have such a gap in between streaming sessions. So this here is a challenge because I really need to know not just the current property that is being requested from the proxy, but the parent lineage of that property. Now, as I build the proxy handlers, you know, I'm kind of putting all this stuff together. So the proxy of each new thing, if it's an object, gets proxied up with those proxy handlers. And I think at that point, it might be really nice to put into that proxy handlers. I hope that proxy doesn't mind if I add in what the parent is. So that ought to be interesting. I wonder how badly it will explode. So if build proxy handlers took a parent property, and that parent property was the prop that we came in with, and the parent property I think this is a little too tricksy because I don't know my property handler when this is getting executed. It may or may not be handed into me here. Yeah, so this is getting very complicated. Even if I could stash it in with this, say, then I wouldn't really have access to it. Although, get proxy, set proxy handler, define So this method is being set up as the method here. And it, I suppose it, no, it does need to be. I could end up wrapping it and pushing a property down. I don't know, that gets really weird to just talk about with voice, right? It's like the ideas start coming through and they're happening a little faster than I could code them all together. So I can't really give you a sense of what this looks like in my head that I'm thinking about. Okay, well, I know this won't really do me. Although I don't think it's too far off of what I'm hoping for. I feel like I want to prototype this a little bit. Although I'm not quite sure what that would look like. I need a playground. I don't know. I mean, the testing infrastructure isn't a bad playground. I get to spin up the whole thing. I don't, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to step into here where I disabled this test. And here is where I'm experimenting with the proxy builder. The property use analyzer. I'm not worried about that. It really is about the proxy builder. You know, these new proxy objects, wherever they are. They're somewhere, I promise. Oh, that's not the implementation. These, right here. That's interesting. Why am I using new proxy here and build here? Wouldn't I actually want to say, because they're both calling this. And so this feels like a little bit of duplicate knowledge. They both know how to build a proxy. I'd like to only build a proxy in one place. So if this were self.build based on, what was that, NT? So now I'm, yeah. I wonder if that passes all the tests. Oops, yeah, that's not the tests. There we are. Okay, things are still good. That's an interesting shift, though. Let's commit that in. Oh my goodness, what have I been doing? Yes, I did some playing around there. I did that refactoring and this here, but that third commit, this guy, yeah, he is removing duplication. Let's call that good. And I'm on the read spike. Oh, that's okay. The read spike's where I want to be anyways. Okay, and now kind of on the way to this. So that thought is finished and committed. I'm going to carry on here. This got me all turned around last time, you know? I got a proxy handler. Which is referenced here. I'm setting it up here. You know what? This is not too bad. So, catch this. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me a second. I'm gonna need a drink. All right, I am back. Okay, and a little bit more hydrated. So, what I'm thinking is this. I'm just wrapping the get proxy handler here, right? It's this thing with a getter, and that's it's interesting because, you know, this is get, you know, and then the proxy handler. And, you know, if you think about this, then, yeah, why am I doing this? Why is the proxy handler not just the actual proxy handler? You know, that feels like it ought to be the same thing, and I'm going to test that out and make sure that it's still okay. And now that idea I had before where I had that parent property, so here, you know, I'm going to ask it to build the parent path, which is actually going to be, well, I'm going to have prop in there, but it's going to be if there's a parent path up here, then I'm going to want to put parent prop on the parent path, right? So I'm going to want to say, oh my gosh, I'm completely forgetting my JavaScript here. So if I have 1 and I add it to 2, no, that doesn't work. Oh, programming languages. I mean, if I had 1, obviously I can push 2 onto it, right? If I want to do addition of arrays, isn't there a concat? Yeah, okay. So this is going to be the parent path concatenated with the property we are currently processing. So the second argument to build is going to be the parent path, right? And then I'm going to want to build proxy handlers, maybe with a parent path, and then bring that all the way into here. Now, here, this won't just be a direct reference. I'm going to have to make this target prop parent path, because I need to take that third I need to take from proxy, I'm only going to get those two parameters. And I'm going to call this get proxy handler with the target and the property and a parent path. So I've got this isn't really the proxy handler, so this is like a get proxy handler with path. That's where the others are just directly, setting and that. And honestly, here, I mean, why am I doing these three things? Because it really does feel like if I carry this through, then my setter is really just no mutate lambda. Oh, that's on this. Oh no, I left that as a local variable up there. It just feels weird, asymmetrical to be doing it this style here, and then just doing references here. I feel like this should be together. Don't like it separate. So I could almost say this guy, if he was defined in here, now I can say set, no mutate lambda. And same thing for the others. Like define property. And delete property. Now these guys are just sort of deadwood. Move that out, and it's interesting that that's IDE does crazy things there. Okay, I wonder if my tests work, or did I completely munge that? Yeah, so I can't mutate the working memory and a condition was thrown. Huh. That's interesting. I wonder what is going on here. So I've got these tests that are going. I want to really focus on the read-only proxy builder test at this time. And so I'm gonna just sit on the top level properties. I'm gonna see if I can fix those tests up. The Maxim-Engine tests should process a simple rule. Let's X out that for a moment. And let's start in the read-only proxy builder spec and start Xing out beyond top level properties. So in the top level properties, let's concentrate on the first one. I'd like to do this because I like to get rid of the noise. So now when I run this test, I should have a single. Why do I have 4? Oh, works with the property listener. Did I miss a whole block? Oh yeah, I missed a whole block of tests. Huh. Okay, 1 failing test. Let's get you going, and you're the simplest test. I like to keep the simplest tests at the top. Like when I have a block of things. So I would expect this to throw. It is not throwing like it ought to here. This is like the most basic issue. So it's getting a string thrown. It wants me to throw an error. It's interesting. Why didn't you error out before? This is a really simple thing. I'd like to know more about what's happening in here. The test is expressly trying to set the proxy message, so it's trying to use the setter. Oh, huh. You know what? Let's just fix the lambda reference, shall we? Oh, look, everything's fine. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's put these back in play. They're all going to throw, and I expect them to throw. Good. Nested objects. They should all throw. Yeah, these are just expecting throwing. Throw, 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 throw. These should all be passing. And then works with the property listener. So let's see how you do. I don't think you're going to be good. And yet you are. You are not an array of arrays. Properties. So this is adding a property path. Okay, so that means my proxy builder, when it's registering a property, here we go. I just don't want to send the prop. I actually want to send, the whole thing. So maybe this is actually property path. I'll just calculate that up here and I'll use it here. Can't read property concat of undefined. Well, doesn't that make sense? If there is no parent path, then I can hardly do concat with it. So that's going to be the parent path. Let's say if it's undefined, oh, hang on, let's quote that, shall we? If that's undefined, then I want to use the prop as a seed array. Otherwise, I want to concatenate the parent path to the prop seed array. And I just want to report back with prop, but I do want to use the property path. Are we good? Can't read property concat if undefined. Shouldn't be concating anything if it's undefined. Parent path. Let me think. Parent path. If it's coming in as a as no value, build proxy handlers. This is where it's nice to have a pair. I feel like I'm missing something simple. Can't read property concat if undefined. Parent path is undefined. Somehow parent path got in here. I'm not sure how. I mean, I could type of around it. Oops. Okay, that makes me happy. Okay, so this I like. I'm getting an array of arrays. And I need to adjust the test to expect that. So in the spec, this is expected to be an array of arrays, which makes sense. Now the other, there's a message and a key, both at the top level of this object. And so really, that's going to be an array of key followed by an array of message to give me the whole path. Oh, hang on. Maybe I should enable the test. Much happier. And this guy, I'm expecting to get, these are both, ooh, these are different. So proxy object message. So I expect that this is going to be an array of objects followed by an array of objects and then message. I think I was sorting something a while back, and I think this is going to get me into a little teensy bit of trouble at some point. Although I still seem to be accidentally getting forward. Where was I sorting? Right here, get referenced properties. It takes the array and then sorts this property's values. I don't think that's going to work out well for me. I don't really care that that's a sorted order, honestly. Why did I even do that? Was that just to simplify tests passing? Maybe. Maybe we'll make smart tests. Well, let's see if this ends up biting me. If it doesn't, I'm going to be really worried. So now this guy should say exactly that. But A and B may come in a different order. It does. Does it? Hang on, what is this? Array 4 to duplicate equal array 3. Oh. A is being referenced, but also B is being referenced. All right. I think this is working out because the order in which I'm running these things, if I push you up here, I expect you to fail. And it's passing. All right, I know something's wrong there. And it's going to bug me. Let me just get rid of that comment. I've done that work, I think. But that's sorting. Like that makes me more than a little bit nuts here. So we're going to get the values and all the properties that we've had referenced. And properties is a array, a set of arrays, and this will turn that set into an array of arrays. And we're then sorting that array of arrays. I suppose if I had A followed by B, no, hang on, array of arrays, A followed by C followed by B, and ask it to sort it. And it does sort the arrays by a way that is meaningful. So if I had A, C, E followed by A, Z, Z, Z. My goodness, I've been in the US too long. Must go home. B, C, followed by A, B. And I ask it to sort that for me. I get AAC, AZ. Okay, so it seems to be recursively sorting through based on the elements in the array, and I'm good with that too. I'm good with that too. I'm gonna leave that in place. So what does my patch look like here? My patch looks like I have that re-enabled. Okay, that's what that is. I'm fixing up the things that I'm expecting off of that. Pulled out my comment, property use analyzer, just making that a path rather than a property, making that clearer what it actually is. The proxy handler I've twiddled so that it is a proxy handler with path. I am brokering in the parent with each of those, which is going to be very nice. I think this is a nice clean commit. So registering properties as a path instead of as a scalar. All right. We are good. I'll push you up. I think it has been a fruitful evening. I'm still on this REIT spike. This ain't a spike anymore. I'm really just doing the work. Really happy with the way proxies worked out in JavaScript. I'm able to do some really interesting things in a pretty concise manner. This still looks pretty messy to me, but I know also that this is on the way towards, I'm going to need a mutating proxy builder. I don't know if that makes sense to call them that. But in this one, I'm intercepting get with my own function that's going to catalog what properties were called within the working memory. And the switch side of this is that when those properties are changed, I need to remember which properties have changed and the associated rules that changed those properties, so that I can, or that read from those properties, so that I can re-execute the rules upon the change. That sounds more complicated to say than it will be to actually do. But I'm really happy with this. I'm pleased with the interface. I get to still use the rule engine the way that I believe that I enjoy using a rule engine. That really nice structure here, and I haven't had to complicate it for hopefully making something like REIT work. It won't really be REIT. REIT is pretty specific about the data structures inside it, so it's going to be probably a REIT-like, or maybe I can make this a little better. The rules folks made, what do they call their first crack at this? REIT 00. But I'm not really doing much in here like that. They had a whole other set of problems to solve, Java being a typed language. But no, I'm pretty happy with this. Still a teeny tiny little thing. I think, do I have any files that, yeah, not a single implementation file is bigger than a screen. I'm really happy with that. All right, I'm going to call it a night. Didn't have anybody stop in tonight, but that's cool. I got some coding done and it was fun. So enjoy, and I will see you in about a week's time when I pick up the flip side of this and get the recognition of mutation happening in the working memory. That's going to be another fun one. All right, thanks.